Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever audio edition of Take That for Data. For those that have been following, I've been doing a blog post at takethatfordata.wordpress.com, which does a few things. One, it helps me document my journey to becoming a skilled data analyst, but it also allows others a resource who want to get into data analysis or want to get into really any sort of technical field. They are able to kind of use this to get some shortcuts. I've, had a lot of times where I've been overwhelmed by how much information exists, and I've been, taken aback by the different areas that you can pursue and different things to think about. So this is my way of saying, if you're like me, here's some things to think about. So that's what I'm doing. I've also decided to add a voice element to this because I think that audio is kind of the future of digital, and so I want to make sure that I give people a way to kind of listen to what I'm saying rather than having to constantly read through it or take the time to sit and read. So that's what this is. This will probably go out on Wednesdays. My blog post, the text version of my blog post, goes out on Mondays in the afternoon. This week, I gave a roundup of the top tools and resources for analysts. If you are a data analyst, these are the kinds of things I think you should know about or become familiar with or become an expert at, because these are kind of the resources that you need to have in your tool belt along the way. So the first, I kind of go into the basics of it. And really, for me, having a foundation in statistics, calculus, and algebra are the best ways to have the mindset and the analytical viewpoint that analysts need. Statistics gives you the ability to understand how to take a massive amount of information and synthesize it into some points that you can use to make decisions. Calculus allows you to manipulate information, detect anomalies, and kind of see where things may go. That's great for predictive analytics. And then finally, algebra, and really I'm thinking about linear algebra here, gives you a way to kind of visualize the interactions between different data points. So that's kind of a great way to have some foundational elements to analysis. Because so much data is online now, the second level for me is social listening and analytics. I come at data through the digital social media realm, and so I notice that there's just so many tools out there that allow you to look at data, particularly social media and digital data, to get some information. And so the big tools here are Sysomos, Brandwatch, Crimson Hexagon, Google Analytics, and Adobe Omniture. I would say the big three in that group would be Sysomos, Brandwatch, Google Analytics, and then Crimson Hexagon and Adobe. You can find information on these resources all over. If you Google any of these names, you'll see a lot of different tutorials on it. There's a lot of coursework around it. So take a look at that and just become familiar with what these tools can do. And then the next step becomes being able to be functional in them. And so that's kind of that section with social listening. The great thing about social listening, it gives you the ability to take a ton of information about how people feel about a certain topic, about an individual, about an organization, and you can really learn and make decisions off of how people are currently behaving to drive whatever result you're looking for, be it awareness, purchase, action, anything like that. And then for me, the kind of last level or the third level of becoming a functional analyst within a company is programming languages. I've talked a lot in my blog posts about SQL and R. Those are the two languages. SQL and R are the languages that data analysts use most often to retrieve and analyze information. But having a background in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript also helps you understand how information is collected and organized. Most of these tools are using JavaScript and HTML to pull data in to the tools, and then of course CSS to kind of organize and create dashboards. So that those are kind of the programming languages I would look at. And then speaking about dashboards, the last thing I add to the blog post is a bit about data visualization. So the good thing about most of these tools, Brandwatch, Google Analytics, SQL, R, is that they often visualize the data for you. So you have graphs. So you don't often need to, you don't have to create your own visuals. But if you're going to be a skilled data analyst, my belief is that you don't want to just kind of get away with using the tools that they do. You really want to be able to create your own graphics and make your own statements. So having some background in digital data visualizations is great for that. And so the big tool here is Tableau, Tableau. But Microsoft also has a tool called Power BI that might be something to look into. But Tableau is the big one, and most companies are using Tableau. So at the end of the day, just take all of this stuff for what it is. It's my personal perspective. You might have a company where programming languages are way more important than social listening. You might have a company where, they don't have the ability to purchase social listening tools or programming software and things like that, so you have to figure out Excel or things like that. However your company does it, that's something you'll have to adjust to, but this gives you a perfect roadmap for how to think about creating frameworks for analyzing information. So I hope that helps. I hope you're enjoying this. If you are listening, please feel free to give me a comment. I'd be very interested in how people view the audio version, if that's something I should keep going with. Frankly, I may keep going because it gives me some practice and seeing how to promote audio, how to use audio in communications. But if people are finding this useful or wish they could have something else, that'd be awesome to hear about. Next week, I believe, is not a check-in. Next week, I'll actually be repurposing a post that I had in Marketo. So I'll definitely lean on the audio version because for the blog post has already been out for a while. So I'll give you guys another way to think about that. Until next time, take that for data.